Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy doesn't travel much, paying only a handful of visits to key allies since Russia's full-scale invasion over a year ago. Now he has made another rare wartime trip abroad to neighboring Poland. Poland has been one of Ukraine's closest and most vocal allies and has provided extensive military aid. It was the first country to send Leopard battle tanks, and now Poland has also pledged to send Ukraine all of its remaining MiG fighter jets, on top of those already promised.
Standing shoulder to shoulder, Ukraine's president on a visit to one of his country's staunchest allies. Volodymyr Zelenskyy was awarded Poland's highest order, the Order of the White Eagle. He later laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Warsaw. But crucially for Ukraine, Poland offered to seek more NATO security guarantees for Kyiv at an upcoming summit.
I am firmly convinced that we will succeed in obtaining such guarantees for Ukraine as an introduction to Ukraine's future full membership in NATO, which Poland strongly supports.
Warsaw is also the first NATO member to send fighter jets to Ukraine.
4 MiG-29s are being delivered, which brings the total to 8 Polish MiG-29s delivered to Ukraine. Today I told President Zelenskyy that we are ready to deliver another 6, which are undergoing maintenance. I think in the future we will be able to deliver the rest of our MiG-29 fleet to Ukraine if it is needed.
Zelenskyy thanked his host and said he wanted Poland as one of the main nations in helping rebuild Ukraine.
An important point in our relations is the reconstruction of Ukraine. It will bring our businesses closer, our nations closer. It's important for us that Poland be one of the main partners in the reconstruction of Ukraine.
It's a rare trip abroad during wartime for Zelenskyy. A show of thanks for Poland's support for Kyiv. Poland has taken more than 1 million refugees, many of whom gathered outside the presidential palace where the two leaders were meeting.
And for more, let's bring in Sophie Arts. She's a program officer for security and defense at the German Marshall Fund in Washington. Good to see you. This was a trip, first and foremost, to thank Poland for its support since the start of the war. What role has Warsaw played since the full-scale invasion?
Yeah, it's really played a huge role, and the relationship between the two countries has been very strong, and Poland has been one of the staunchest supporters on Ukraine's side, along with other allies on the eastern flank. And I think a lot of that goes back to the fact that they, given their geographic location, they really share this assessment of Russia as an existential threat, and this battle over Ukraine as an existential frontline. And so there's a huge importance placed on this relationship from both sides. And Poland has been supporting Ukraine from the very start, as you know, your colleagues have pointed out, with supporting and taking in refugees right at the beginning, supporting or bringing in critical military aid, really pushing the envelope on the military aid that they're committing, kind of running ahead of a lot of allies.
And they're doing so again, aren't they? There were new military pledges this time around, and the first MiG-29 fighter jets just arrived in Ukraine. Zelenskyy today even talked about Poland forming a coalition to supply more warplanes. So how much pressure does that put on Kyiv's other allies to step up aid?
Yeah, I think it definitely puts a lot of pressure, and it's a strategy that has worked in the past, especially with regard to the main battle tanks. You brought up the Leopard tanks earlier. So I think this issue is maybe a little bit different because U.S. and other allies have indicated that they're not really considering fighter jets at this time, but I think it's a very important signal on behalf of Poland to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, they're taking the lead. They used to say, you know, we'll be the first, but we don't want to be the only ones. Are we now seeing them take a different approach, seeing that, you know, neither the U.S., Germany, France, or the U.K. have made any moves when it comes to fighter jets?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just committing what they have. As I said before, I think they really see this as an existential struggle, and realize that Ukraine needs all the help that it can get. I think in some ways, these capabilities are, of course, not the most modern. And so from that perspective, it's not maybe as huge a loss for Poland, but it's setting a signal in the direction, maybe leading to more support with fighter jets or other capabilities in the long term, but certainly keeping the momentum going.
How is this viewed by NATO and Ukraine's other allies?
I think overall, Poland's commitments have been received well. I think there's a high appreciation for the fact that Poland is willing to do so much. And I think also an acknowledgement in retrospect that Poland and other allies on the eastern flank have been really right for a long time, long before the invasion of February 24th, warning about the Russian threat. And so I think there's an appreciation of that. But on the other hand, I think there's a certain hesitancy about the way they're approaching the issue, the way they're, just running forward without consulting with allies, kind of cutting through red tapes in ways that other allies maybe can't. So I think there is a certain frustration, but also an appreciation of what they're doing.
Sophie Artz, lots of appreciation from us too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.